here's Brody Brazil.
Well, it's kind of crazy how we're already a couple days into this official baseball season. Spring training underway in Arizona and Florida, and the biggest headline remains this jersey debacle, right? Players have called it out. Fans are noticing it. Even Major League Baseball has acknowledged it. And that's kind of the purpose and point of this video, to see this situation from all sides and try and figure out what ultimately is going to be the resolution here. I don't think that they just won't let anything happen here, nothing changes, and this is the way it plays out for the rest of this baseball season. Something, whether small or large scale, has to change course here in terms of what's being faced between Nike, Fanatics, Major League Baseball, the players, and the fans. What's the deal? And you've probably seen some of the social media posts and quotes, and things look cheap, right? The cheaper materials that players have been critical of course, they're the ones firsthand getting to put these on. They've been accustomed to the prior jerseys, and now they're instantly noticing a change. And nobody's trying to hide the change. Nike and Fanatics have modeled something different, they say, based on player request and something they think will make the players more comfortable. But it's easy to see, even from photos and videos of spring training, the name and number proportions are much different than they used to be. The name curvatures, like across the back, it's almost like a half circle on the mid-back instead of an arch across the shoulder blades. The Batterman logo used to be a lot higher on the neckline. Now it's down below part of the jerseys. A lot of teams say their color of jerseys feels a little bit off. Players from the Orioles and Atlanta have each said that about the, I believe, orange and dark blue, that they just don't feel like what the colors used to be. A lot of players saying the pants don't fit right. I mean, we're so focused on the jersey tops because obviously that's what the players will put on their upper half, but that's also what the fans are eventually going to buy in team stores. Nobody buys Major League pants, right? They put the jersey tops on. So players are noticing that the pants don't fit right, or they fit a lot differently, and it's not in a good way. And also the stitching and construction, it's just not up to the standards that baseball players have been expecting across all these years. So just to summarize and bring you up to speed, that's the deal. That's what's in question here, as Fanatics and Nike have now changed to this new elite jersey chassis. That's what they're calling it. In terms of the three tiers, the on-field, the replica version, and then kind of the fan jersey version of the jersey. So let's dive into the personal side of this first. So here's how I'll do it. My personal side, I'll eventually get to the players' side. I'll also touch on Major League Baseball's side. And then last but not least, what Nike and Fanatics, how they probably approach all of this in being a centerpiece of it. But in my opinion, you go back and look at the Fanatics and Nike jerseys that were made from 2020 to 2023. Now, it's important to know, in 2020, Fanatics and Nike, they took over production of baseball jerseys. And at first, they didn't change anything. Fanatics started manufacturing them. They slapped on the Nike logo. Nothing really changed, and nothing was really wrong with those jerseys. In fact, I know because I own several of them. Yes, with my name and number on the back, but that's a different story. I can tell you firsthand, when you put this on, it looks and it feels right. Everything about it, even the way it breathes, it's high performance, it's going to hold up well, the stitching, the sewing, everything in between says professional. It says this is what the pros wear, and quite honestly, that's what they were wearing from 2020 to 23. Here in 24, there's been the change, and that's what we'll discuss later in this video. But I also understand and appreciate the tiered jersey levels in terms of what's being sold in team stores. Some people want to pay $200 or more to get the real, authentic, on-field jersey like the players wear. They want to get a player's name and number on the back. They want to get their own name and number on the back. Whatever it is, they want the real thing, and they're willing to pay for it. I love that. I also love that there's kind of a middle tier for fans who say, yeah, I want something that looks good, and even from afar, it looks authentic, but it may not be, and I certainly don't want to spend that much. If I spill nachos on it, no big deal. And then there's also a third variety of jersey, which may be given out as a gift, or for a young fan who you might see destroying it, not intentionally, but they wear it a little harder than an adult fan would. So I like the fact that there are three different options for fans to choose from, and I like that Nike and Fanatics have done that here. I'm also here to tell you, though, that I'm not a tailor. I'm not somebody who does a lot of stitching. I do have a sewing machine, but I also, at the same respect, I don't do this professionally. I've also put on enough clothes in my life to understand what looks and feels right, what's well-made, what's cheaply made, and what a Major League Baseball jersey should feel like when you put it on. I'm not a player, but I've definitely put one on before, more than one occasion. I know what it's supposed to feel like. So that's kind of a thing here for a lot of fans. They're saying, I feel like a snob because I know this isn't right, and I can't necessarily explain this isn't right. I don't know what this is called, but I can see it. And I think full respect and credit to fans who are noticing the differences, and so what if they can't define it? They're noticing the differences. And also, I'm somebody who wants all sports professional jerseys to evolve with technology. The fact that Nike and Fanatics are doing something new, I'm okay with that. Obviously, I want you to make it better, and I don't want you to cut corners on it, and I want you to actually improve it and make it more sustainable. I'll talk about those efforts in just a second. I do credit Nike and Fanatics for trying to make a more eco-friendly jersey. There is something to be said about that, but at the same time, and it wears better, it dries better, it's supposed to perform better, more like dry fit material. But in the end, it still has to look and feel like what it's supposed to look and feel like. So I'm okay with the evolution. I'm okay with change. Players are too, and I do understand from time to time, even when anything changes for the better, it's going to be noticed. But in this case, it's being noticed for the worst. Now, we'll get to baseball's side of it in just a second, but first, here's what the commissioner, Rob Manfred, said about all this.
Well, we always pay attention to what people are saying about any new initiative. I think in baseball, any new initiative, there's going to be some negative feedback. First and most important, these are Nike jerseys. I mean, we entered this partnership with Nike because of who they are and the kinds of products that they produce. Everything they've done for us so far has been absolutely 100% successful across the board. The jerseys are different. They're designed to be performance wear as opposed to what has traditionally been worn, so they are going to be different. But they have been tested more extensively than any jersey in any sport. The feedback from the All-Star game last year where the jerseys were worn was uniformly positive from the players. So I think after people, wear them a little bit, I think that they're going to be really popular.
Two things there. Number one, if they were so extensively tested and signed off by the players, you wouldn't see this type of reaction from them. And look, this is fans responding to what they're seeing in team stores, but this is very much players in spring training camps in Florida and Arizona saying, hey, for us, this isn't right. They're the ones that got apparently some say in this, so it's really hard to go back on that now and say, oh, it was tested and players approved it, and now they have a very different opinion on it on a wide scale. That's a little bit hard to believe. And also how Commissioner Manfred ended it there by saying, just give it some time and we'll see how you like it then. I don't know if I subscribe to that approach. I don't know if I subscribe to be patient and your concerns might go away. Because in this case, in this situation, I don't think they will. So let's tackle this from the Major League Baseball side of things. Number one, like I mentioned before and alluded to, how did all of this even get approved by baseball executives? It's one thing if Nike and Fanatics want to go in this different direction, but how did Major League Baseball executives, like, high-paid, well-placed people look at the jerseys and say, oh, that still looks good and right? Let's go with that. Because even me, lowly broadcaster, can look at these jerseys in photos from spring training, photos taken from 50 and 60 and 80 feet away and say, that's not right. The proportions of the jersey and the number and the cut and all that stuff, it's just not the same. I can even tell that the fabrics and the stitching, it's embroidery versus tackle twill. Even I can tell that from afar. It's not the same. Also for baseball, look, this is important, the on-field stuff especially. If you want to make the lesser jerseys more cost-efficient, I guess I'm okay with that, right? But the top-tier jerseys, this represents your brand. This is literally on the players, on the field, of everything that's about to happen in your 2024 Major League season. Don't you want it to look nice? Don't you want it to represent your brand in the best way possible? And so baseball's in this tough spot. Their partners, right? Nike and Fanatics have made all these jerseys. They've invested probably a lot of money, and they're making these jerseys as we speak. And then the players and fans, I said partners and fans, it's players too. Baseball's got to side with somebody here. Is baseball going to go with their partners and say, we'll have them give it time, we'll try and simmer them down a little bit? Or are they going to side with the fans and players and say, hey, Nike and Fanatics, hold the presses, stop the presses. It's more of a newspaper thing, but you get the point here. It's almost guaranteed, I think, that the players are going to get some response out of this. And that's a sad thing to say, that if fans voiced their opinion, they wouldn't get anything out of it. But honestly, I feel like that's true. I feel like because the players are also in on this right now, and they've been extremely vocal, they've used some very direct language, and I'm sure they're giving feedback to the PA and the league itself. The players will get some type of response out of this, and Major League Baseball is going to give it to them. So I am confident that that might change something here sooner than later. But as for the players, I mean, can you blame them? As performers, every last detail is important to them. And I know it's a saying, it's a slogan, and it's real. You look good, you feel good, you play good. And when you put on that jersey and it feels like, what am I on, a Little League team again? Am I on a Babe Ruth team? Am I on the JV squad all over again? Mentally, it's a string and chain of events that goes through the rest of your day. It just doesn't feel right. And again, you can modify the jersey, you can change the fabrics, but when you start getting into the stitching and the design and the shape and the cut and everything is just a little bit different than what they're used to, you're going to have some feedback on it. If I recall correctly, in the NBA, didn't they try and change the basketball 15, 17 years ago? And instantly the players were like, no, you need to go back to the old basketball. And I know they've evolved the actual basketball over time, but there are some things about it you just can't change. That's the way they're going to be. That's the way they have to be. I also understand that there's a big league image to uphold and that players have the highest of expectations. This is the number one baseball league in the world. And I know fans out there will say, oh, come on, you're millionaires, quit being babies, just wear what you're assigned, put it on, shut up and don't complain. I would offer you the same dilemma in whatever line of work you're in. Let's say you're in construction and I supply you with all the tools. You don't like that impact driver, you don't like that hammer, you don't like that wrench. I'm going to give you the worst possible, but do your job and compete with everybody else on the job site. You've got to be the best, but here's your subpar tools. All of a sudden you get it. It doesn't matter how many dollars they make or how much attention they get. These are still people trying to perform at the highest level, and all they're asking for is just keep things the same. Don't mess with what you've been doing. And so again, I think the players are very cognizant of the fact that they will be heard through the media, who they've already given quotes to. Nobody's really ashamed or afraid to say what they think, and that's a good thing. And also with the MLBPA, the Players Association, the players, I think, know that their voice is going to get heard on this. Okay, as for Fanatics and Nike, and this is the toughest one because they're all behind this. And I do appreciate, like I said before, their efforts behind sustainability and evolution and change. And they're trying to do something they think will make the players more comfortable. And it seems like breathability, stretchability, and the dryness of the jerseys are the main factors that they were focusing on. They didn't want players all summer long sweating through thicker jerseys. They wanted to try and improve the breathability of the jersey. But to be honest with you, if that means making the fabric more like a t-shirt, then I don't think you've accomplished the proper goal. But I do appreciate their efforts towards sustainability. They say they're using more renewable materials in the production process. Again, I'm not going to discredit any of that. Of course, it's always appreciated. And Commissioner Manfred said that change and evolution always get a little bit of kickback in baseball. I understand that. I agree with it, but just not to this scale. You can't throw this in the same conversation as that and say, well, not everybody's going to like it. Well, when most people don't like it, that's not everybody's going to like it. Those are two different things. But yeah, change and evolution are inevitable. And yeah, some teams are going to change their logo. They're going to change the style of the jersey, and players may not like that. But when you change the actual form fit of the jersey, how it plays, how it feels, that's definitely a conversation here. Why would Nike and Fanatics even do it like this? And again, they've been working together since 2020 when they took over baseball jersey production at the start of the 2020 season. But it's almost like Fanatics making the jersey, from what I understand, and Nike just slapping their logo on it. When the commissioner says, well, it's Nike, it's their brand, it's their thing, is it? Because when I got jerseys before, they were from Fanatics with a Nike logo on it. And those are the same jerseys that the players get. The exact same ones. It was made at the same factory as the players' jerseys. Somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think. So why would Nike do this where Fanatics, they let Fanatics, a company with a with a questionable reputation, let's say, based on quality control and product quality overall, why would Nike, a world-renowned brand, say, hey, we'll just slap our logo on this? I mean, that's basically like Ferrari saying, and I don't want to discredit any auto manufacturer, but let's take a questionable auto manufacturer and say, we'll slap a Ferrari logo on it, and it's a Ferrari. I don't know that it is in this case. I don't know why two brands are doing this. It would be much more simple to say it's all Fanatics, blame them, or it's all Nike, they need to make this right. But in this case, I feel like they can kind of hide behind each other. And what is this all about? This probably should have been one of my main points to start. I'm putting this at the end of the video. It probably should have been at the beginning. Why are we really doing this? Why was change really necessary? Was it to cut corners and save production cost? And I hate to think that's the obvious answer, but I think that's the obvious answer. That's what happens here in 2024. That's what companies do. And so that's unfortunate. That's kind of a shame, but that's probably the real reason behind this. Yeah, I'm sure they want to make it more comfortable for players and more breathable and more dryable and all that stuff. And they want to have the 3 tiers and sell more jerseys, which, by the way, I've also understood that jerseys, the authentic ones at least, are even very hard to come by. Like you can't even order all of them for all the different teams. They're out of stock. They just don't have them. How's that possible? I'm pretty sure any NBA, NFL, NHL fan can go get the team player jersey they want right now. The authentic one right now, I think. Kind of blows my mind at the beginning of a baseball season, you can't even get the authentic jersey. But the 3 tiers, okay, you want to roll out something new, I understand. Maybe just a couple tweaks. Maybe that's part of the problem. Should have done just a few small things at a time here. Instead of overhauling this chassis, this elite level chassis, whatever it is, and trying to cut everything out at once and make more profit and all of a sudden, debut something that not everybody likes. But I do think Nike and Fanatics have to know that fans have a bigger voice now than ever before, and largely due to social media. If this happened in 1993, what are fans going to do? A couple low-level interviews with the media when the news stations come out and talk about this, and that's it. It's in the paper a little bit, couple quotes here, there, fans aren't happy, no big deal. It's blasted all over social media, examples, and fans going into team stores and showing the jerseys. I mean, it's so, up front for everybody to see. So Nike and Fanatics have to know that here in 2024, there's kind of a fire burning over there, and it's up to you at this point to do something to put it out. So the conclusion on this, my takeaways, I think something has to give here. And it might be as simple as, okay, Nike and Fanatics are going to remanufacture only the top level jersey and do those over. The other tiers, fine, they're lower level. They'll just keep those the same. And that's it, right? I mean, you get what you get for a lower price, and they'll probably hike the price of the authentic on-field jersey. But I think the players are going to demand more and better. And I think fans who ultimately want that top tier jersey, they want more and better. Because I don't think, look at the Swanson jersey there in Chicago. The old one on top and the new one on the bottom. You can tell, on top looks like what you would expect over watching decades of Major League Baseball. And it's fine. Again, some change is fine. That change, to most people, you probably poll 10 baseball fans, 7 of them who know a lot or a little are going to tell you that one on the bottom is not right. Same thing on the Mariners side between Gilbert and Kirby. You can clearly see it just doesn't look the same, doesn't look right. Fans know it, players know it, and you probably do too. Hey, thank you so much for watching this entire video. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me and the channel. And by the way, if you're just seeing me here for the very first time, I know the channel is growing and I really appreciate you finding me. Thanks for stopping by. But also don't forget to subscribe so I can definitely see you back here next time.